He opened the door and saw 3 alien women waiting for him. Ethan lived alone. On a quiet colony planet called Varela 9, he had a small metal house near the edge of the forest. The planet was peaceful. Too peaceful. After the war, he didn't want to fight anymore. He just wanted silence. He worked with machines during the day, repaired old tech. At night, he sat alone, stared at the stars, and remembered the faces of people he couldn't save. He never expected anything to change. Until one morning, someone knocked on his door. Knock, knock, knock. He froze. Nobody visited him. He lived far from the town. Delivery drones left packages outside without a sound. This was something different. He stood up, grabbed a small tool for defense, and slowly opened the door. And then he saw them. 3 alien women, standing in the cold, wearing nothing but silver robes that shimmered in the sunlight. They were beautiful. No, beyond beautiful. One had glowing green skin and long white hair that reached her waist. Her eyes were bright blue, almost like stars. She stood tall and proud. The second had soft purple skin and short silver curls. Her face was gentle, with deep golden eyes that looked almost shy. The third had dark blue skin with tiny lights sparkling on her arms, like stars trapped in her body. She was the smallest but stood in front, holding something that looked like a scroll. All 3 bowed at once. Human male Ethan. The one in front said, her voice soft, calm, and trained, "We are your government-assigned wives. Use us as you please." Ethan blinked. What? The scroll unrolled on its own. A soft hologram lit up. Official seal. Galactic stamp. It looked real. "We have been gifted to you under the Human Integration Treaty, Section 17B. As a decorated veteran, you qualify for companionship and reward." She looked up. "That reward is us." Ethan stepped back. "Is this a joke?" he asked. The women looked at each other. The blue-skinned girl stepped forward. "No, sir. We are yours. We were trained to serve you in all ways. Emotionally, physically, intellectually. You may command us." Her voice did not sound happy. It sounded rehearsed, controlled. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this." The green-skinned woman said, "Refusal will result in reassignment, and we will be terminated." "Terminated?" Ethan repeated, shocked. "You mean killed?" The purple-skinned girl flinched. "Yes, sir. That is standard protocol if the bonding is rejected 3 times. He stared at them, stunned. His mind was racing. 3 alien women, delivered to his doorstep, with documents, rules, and fear in their eyes. Something was wrong. He stepped aside. "Come in," he said quietly. They bowed again and entered the house, moving carefully, like trained pets. They didn't sit. They stood silently, waiting for instructions. Ethan closed the door and sat down on the couch. His thoughts were spinning. Who made this law? Why was this allowed? These women weren't happy. They were scared. Even though they were stunningly beautiful, he couldn't ignore the way their hands trembled, the way their eyes avoided contact. "Do you have names?" he asked. The blue-skinned girl replied, "Our names were removed during training, but you may call me Lyra." "I'm Sina," said the purple one softly. The green-skinned one looked at him and said, "Call me Vexa. I was trained to lead." He sighed. "I'm not going to hurt you. You don't have to be afraid." They looked at him in confusion. Vexa tilted her head. "You don't want to command us?" "No," Ethan said. "I want to understand what's going on." Suddenly, a red light blinked from the scroll. Lyra quickly grabbed it. A mechanical voice said, "Report compliance. Host must demonstrate control." Ethan frowned. "What is that?" "It's monitoring our bond," Vexa explained. "We must report obedience, or be removed." Removed. Again that word. His heart sank. He walked over to them. Slowly, gently. "You're not objects," he said. "You're people. I don't know what this program is, but it's not right." Lyra's eyes filled with something Ethan didn't expect. Hope, just a little. But Senna shook her head, whispering, "If you say that to the inspectors, you'll be punished too." That word again. Punished. Something inside Ethan snapped. These women weren't here to help him. They were here to hide something darker. But for now, he had to play along. The red light blinked again. He took a deep breath. He looked at the scroll and said in a clear voice, "Compliance recorded. All subjects are under my control." The light turned green. The women sighed in relief. But Ethan felt the weight of something heavy settling on his chest. This wasn't a reward. This was a prison with soft skin and pretty faces, and he had just stepped inside. They say they belong to him, but something feels wrong. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He sat in the dim corner of his home, watching the 3 alien women quietly arrange their sleeping mats in the living room. They moved like dancers, but not the happy kind. Every step was controlled, every breath calculated, like they were always being watched. Lyra, the blue-skinned girl, carefully folded a blanket around herself and curled up like a child. Sina, the purple one, sat cross-legged and stared at the glowing orb lamp in the corner, her golden eyes unfocused. Vexa, the green-skinned leader, sat straight against the wall, alert and still. She didn't blink much. Ethan couldn't stop thinking about one word: terminated. He didn't ask for this. He never wanted anyone to serve him. And yet, here they were, assigned, gifted, and controlled like property. And worse, if he rejected them, they would die. What kind of sick system was this? He quietly walked to the kitchen and poured himself a glass of water. When he turned, he saw Lyra watching him from her spot on the floor. Her voice was almost a whisper. "Are you angry with us?" Ethan blinked. "What? No. Why would I be angry?" She looked down. "You haven't used any commands. You haven't touched us. It's unusual." He walked over and sat down near her. "That's because I don't want to hurt you." Lyra hesitated. Then, "Why did you let us in?" "Because I couldn't let you die." She smiled. Not a trained, pretty smile. A real one. Small, shy, broken. "Thank you," she whispered. From the corner, Vexa spoke, calm and sharp. "Be careful, Lyra. Attachment is forbidden." Senna looked up, her eyes a little brighter. "But what if he's different?" Vexa's gaze turned cold. "Different gets you deleted." Ethan looked at all 3 of them. "I'm not going to report you, but I need to know who's watching you." Lyra hesitated. The scroll. Ethan grabbed the scroll they had brought in earlier. The same glowing hologram now rested on his desk, blinking green. He tapped it, and a robotic female voice echoed in the room. "Galactic Harmony Authority Monitoring. Bond level. Low. Emotional sync. Insufficient. Physical control. Absent." His blood ran cold. "Physical control," he repeated. Vexa stood up. "The program judges us based on your dominance. If you don't show authority, they consider the match failed." And then, "We are recycled," Senna said, barely audible. Ethan clenched his fists. "That's slavery. This is wrong." Vexa walked to him slowly. "We know." "Then why go along with it?" "Because it's survive or vanish," Vexa answered. Ethan sat back down, trying to make sense of it all. He had fought in the human Volthar War. He'd seen enemy machines tear through cities. He thought peace would be better. But this wasn't peace. This was organized cruelty, wrapped in silver ribbons. He looked at them again. 3 women, each from different alien species, different worlds, different pasts, but all trained to be perfect for him. "Do you remember your life before this?" he asked softly. Senna was the first to respond. I used to sing, she said. On my world, we sang to the moons during harvest season. I had a sister. Lyra whispered, I was a healer. My hands used to glow when I treated wounds. Vexa stayed silent. Ethan looked at her. What about you? She met his eyes, her face unreadable. I was a soldier. I led others, until they told me I'd serve better. On my knees. Ethan felt something burn in his chest. Not anger, not confusion. Rage. He stood up. I'm going to report this. All three women froze. Vexa shouted, no. Even Lyra stood up, reaching for his arm. You don't understand. If you report it, they'll kill you too. Senna nodded, eyes wide. Anyone who interferes vanishes. Ethan stopped. You're telling me. People who speak up err. Silenced, Vexa said. He ran a hand through his hair. He felt like he was standing in the middle of a nightmare. But there must be some way out of this, he said. Lyra slowly walked to him. Her glowing hands touched his arm softly. There is one way. Ethan looked at her. What? We have to pass the inspection in 3 days. If the system believes we've bonded successfully, they'll leave us alone. And if we fail, we're taken and never seen again. He stepped back, shocked. So you want me to pretend? Act like I control you? Like I own you? Vexa nodded. Yes, just for the inspector. It's our only chance. Ethan turned away. He couldn't do it. But then he heard Sina softly cry behind him. Just a soft, trembling sound. He turned and saw her hugging her knees, golden tears falling down her cheeks. I don't want to go back in the dark, she whispered. Silence filled the room. Ethan closed his eyes. He didn't believe in fate, but he believed in doing what was right. And this, whatever this mess was wrong. He took a deep breath. Okay, he said, we'll play their game. But after that, we find a way to get you free. All of you. The women stared at him. Hope lit their faces. Small, faint, but real. Ethan didn't know what would happen next, but he knew one thing. They were never going back to being anyone's property. She was punished for smiling too much. 3 days until the inspection. Ethan marked the date on the glowing calendar screen near the kitchen. The number blinked in red. A soft beep echoed every few hours, reminding him time was running out. The house felt strange now. It was still quiet, but not peaceful anymore. The alien women, Vexa, Lyra, and Sina, moved around with soft steps and stiff posture. They cleaned, cooked, and stood at attention whenever Ethan entered a room. But something had changed. Now Ethan knew the truth behind their calm eyes and graceful movements. Fear lived under their skin. He tried to speak to them like people, tried to get them to relax, but they would only respond in short sentences, afraid of doing something wrong. He hated watching them flinch when he raised his hand, even just to scratch his head. One morning, he entered the living room and saw Lyra smiling. A real smile. She was sitting on the floor beside the small holo fireplace, watching an old Earth video. A cartoon. It played silly music and showed animals dancing badly. She giggled softly. For a moment, she didn't seem like a trained wife. She looked like a young woman. Free. Joyful. Until the scroll blinked red. Alert. Unauthorized emotional response detected. Subject Lyra. Class B violation. Lyra froze. The smile disappeared from her lips. She turned slowly toward the scroll, her hands trembling. Sorry, she whispered. I forgot the time. Ethan stepped forward. What's going on? Before anyone could answer, the scroll projected a red beam toward Lyra. It scanned her in a second. Subject Lyra. Emotion spike detected. Engaging compliance feedback. Level 2. Ethan shouted, no. But it was too late. A thin blue arc of energy zapped from the device and hit Lyra's neck. Her body tensed. Her eyes rolled back. She gasped, then collapsed to the floor, twitching. Lyra! Ethan ran to her and caught her before she hit the metal floor. Her skin felt ice cold. Her breathing was rapid. Her eyes were wide, filled with tears. Senna screamed, "Make it stop, please." Vexa grabbed the scroll, trying to shut it off. Her fingers danced over the controls. Disruption detected. Human intervention not permitted. Ethan stood, eyes blazing. The hell it's not. He grabbed a metal rod from the wall, a tool used to reset old generators, and slammed it into the scroll device. Sparks flew. The scroll made a mechanical shriek and shut down, smoke rising from its base. Vexa stared at him in shock. "You destroyed it." "I'll destroy every single thing that hurts you," Ethan said through clenched teeth. He turned back to Lyra, holding her gently. Her breathing was slowing, but she was conscious. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I just wanted to feel happy." Tears welled up in Ethan's eyes. "You should be allowed to smile. Damn it." Senna knelt beside her. "We told you, Ethan. Even real joy is dangerous. We have to follow emotion control limits. And what happens if you keep breaking them?" Vex's voice was flat. "First you get shocked. Then you get flagged. Then you disappear." Ethan stood up, fury boiling inside him. "No, not happening. Not anymore." That night, he buried the broken scroll under a pile of scrap outside the house. Then he went into his old military trunk, the one he had promised himself he'd never open again. Inside were weapons, encrypted chips, and one last thing, a hacked comm tablet that could connect to untraceable networks. He powered it up. It still worked. With a few taps, he began searching. Secret channels, rebel groups, whistleblower hubs. Somewhere out there, someone had to know the truth about this government-assigned wife program. And maybe, just maybe, someone could help him shut it down. The next day, things were quiet. Lyra was still weak, so Ethan made her rest. He cooked food himself, served them without asking for anything in return. They sat together, awkward, silent, but something had changed. The women didn't flinch when he entered the room anymore. Lyra smiled again, carefully. Senna sat closer to him during meals. Even Vexa, always cold and distant, nodded once when he handed her a cup of hot broth. Late that evening, as the sky outside turned purple and silver, Vexa approached him alone. "You're not like the others," she said. Ethan looked up. "Others?" She nodded. "Most humans don't ask questions. They take what they're given. They follow the rules. They think it's a reward." He stood quietly, leaning against the wall. "Maybe I was like that once, but not anymore." Vexa hesitated, then said something she hadn't told anyone before. "My sister was part of the first batch. They gave her to a senator. When she started talking back, she was erased." Ethan's jaw tightened. "And they expect you to smile and serve." "Yes," she said, "but I won't. Not forever." Ethan looked at her, really looked at her. Behind her strong posture and sharp words was a soldier, a sister, someone who had lost too much. "You shouldn't have to," he said. She stepped closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Tomorrow, they'll send a replacement scroll. And the inspector will arrive the day after. We'll have to pretend again." Ethan nodded. "Then we pretend, but only until we find a way out." For the first time, Vexa smiled. It was barely visible, just a flicker. But it was real. That night, Ethan stayed up, eyes on the hacked tablet. He finally found something. A hidden message board full of angry posts. Assigned Wives program is a cover-up. They're not companions. They're prisoners. My wife vanished after the second inspection. He read each one carefully. Then he saw a username, Shadowspire, who claimed to be an ex-program developer. They had left one message. "If you still have your subject alive, Take her to the old mining outpost at Crater Delta. Bring proof. Bring caution. You'll be hunted. Ethan marked the coordinates. He looked over at Lyra, Sina, and Vexa sleeping together on the floor, their faces calm for the first time. He made a promise to himself. He would protect them. All of them. Even if it meant fighting the system that created them. Ethan hacks the system and discovers a horrifying truth. The sun on Varela 9 rose in shades of pale orange and deep indigo. Ethan didn't notice. He was too deep into the code. His small workshop, once a place for repairing scrap and old tech, now looked like a secret war room. He sat hunched over a glowing console, the hacked tablet connected to a cracked military interface module he hadn't used in years. Cables ran across the desk like tangled vines. Every few seconds, the screen flickered with encrypted files from the government-assigned wife program. He'd finally cracked into the outer layer, and what he found made his blood turn cold. Nay, Lyra 47. Silas, EMPATAIC, he 8 Alir modal. Stay A2S. Active. VACKS20. Y. Sotal MTE size ED. Low AL2IRATNG. Medium. Termination 8P Garu VALCOD. 673 ZETA. He scrolled further. There was an entire database of names, hundreds of alien women, all labeled like items in a catalog. Each profile listed what they were trained to be: romantic, loyal, submissive, talented in music, language, or combat. Each had a story that was fake, something crafted by programming. Lyra's memory of being a healer. Implanted. Senna's songs beneath the moons. Written into her neural layer. Vex's soldier background. Real, but erased and rewritten to serve a new purpose. Obedience through control. And worse, at the bottom of every profile was a line. If subject shows signs of emotional independence or rebellion, initiate Class C memory wipe or full disposal. Ethan leaned back, his face pale. They weren't just controlling them. They were erasing them. Footsteps approached. Lyra peeked into the room. She looked tired but smiled faintly. You didn't sleep again. Ethan forced a smile. Couldn't. Too much to fix. She walked in quietly and handed him a warm drink. Her glowing fingers brushed his hand softly, unintentionally. Ethan felt a weight in his chest. This girl, this kind soul, was living a story someone else had written for her. And she didn't even know. Lyra. He began carefully. Do you remember your family? She sat on a crate beside him and looked at her knees. Only my sister. She had blue flowers in her hair. I used to braid them for her. Ethan hesitated. Would you be upset if that memory was fake? She froze. He instantly regretted asking. But Lyra slowly looked up, her glowing eyes uncertain. Even if it was, it still feels real to me. That answer shook Ethan to his core. Because in this twisted system, the feeling of being real was all they had left. Later that evening, Vexa came into the workshop. The scroll's replacement just arrived, she said. Ethan nodded. Let me guess. Military grade. She placed it on the table. Worse, Model 7R emotion sync. It reads your mood and punishes us if we don't match it. Ethan slammed his fist on the desk. So now I have to act like a cold bastard just so you don't get shocked. Yes, Vexa said. And tomorrow, the inspector comes. Senna appeared behind her, nervous. I cleaned everything. I practiced my lines. But I'm scared. Ethan stood up and walked toward them. We're not going to keep playing their game forever. I found something. A contact. He's ex-program. He says if we bring proof, he'll help expose everything. Vexa crossed her arms. Where? Crater Delta. 2 nights from now. Vexa's expression was unreadable. It's dangerous. Drones patrol the perimeter. And if they catch you with us outside your home assignment zone, they'll assume rebellion." "I know," Ethan said, "but what other choice do we have?" She stared at him for a long time. Then she nodded. "Then we prepare." That night, Ethan downloaded everything he could from the system. He copied every shocking file. Video evidence of punishment rooms. Images of alien women hooked to memory wipe machines. Reports showing test subjects disappearing after minor defects. He compressed the files onto a secure disk and sealed it in a small metal box. He hid it inside the back of his mechanical tool belt, where no scan would detect it. When he turned around, Senna was watching. Her voice was soft. "Do you think they'll believe you?" "No," Ethan said. "But once this goes public, they won't be able to silence it." The next morning arrived with wind howling outside. The sky above Varela 9 was gray and heavy, like it knew something dark was coming. A sleek black transport ship landed quietly outside Ethan's home. From it stepped Inspector Kale, tall, smooth-voiced, wearing a pristine Galactic Authority coat. His eyes were silver implants, always recording, always judging. He walked into the house like he owned it. "Human male Ethan, we're here for your 3-day follow-up assessment," he said. Ethan forced a nod. "Understood." Kale turned to the 3 alien women. Subjects Lyra, Sina, Vexa. Display emotional compliance. The girls stepped forward. Vexa kneeled first. "We exist to please." Sina bowed low. "We feel joy in obedience." Lyra took Ethan's hand, just as they'd rehearsed, and whispered, "He's the only one who makes us feel whole." Kale raised an eyebrow. Well trained." He walked around the room, scanning everything with his silver eyes. He stopped in front of Ethan. "Do you feel satisfied with your companions?" Ethan hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, very." Kale tilted his head. "Interesting. You weren't so compliant in your last war report. Many believed you'd rebel against this program." Ethan forced a smile. "People change." Kale stared at him for a moment, then turned to leave. "The inspection result will be uploaded in 12 hours. If approved, you may keep the subjects. If denied," he smiled coldly, "they'll be reassigned." He stepped into his ship and disappeared into the clouds. The moment he left, the 3 women collapsed onto the floor, shaking with relief. Ethan walked over and helped them up. "It's done," he said. "Now we get ready." Vexa looked at him. "To run." Ethan nodded. "To run and to fight." They beg him to pretend. But he has another plan. The inspection was over. The house was quiet again. Too quiet. But no one felt safe. The inspector had smiled. That cold, fake Galactic Authority smile. The kind that always came before someone disappeared. And now, all they could do was wait for the official result. Approval or removal. Life or death. Ethan stared at the monitor on his wall. The word TNNDang blinked in red letters. Lyra sat silently on the couch, holding her knees. Sina quietly refolded the same blanket for the 5th time. Vexa paced the room like a soldier on edge, checking every window. The waiting was a slow kind of torture. Then finally, beep. A message appeared on the screen. Final status. Unsatisfactory emotional bonindi. TGTCTE. Level 2 reassignment authorized. Drone retrieval ETA. 16 hours. Lyra gasped. Senna dropped the blanket. Even Vexa froze. "No," Ethan whispered. He slammed his fist into the wall. "They're coming for you." Lyra looked up, voice shaking. "What do we do now?" Senna whispered. "We can still fix it. Maybe if you act more dominant. Show them control. Maybe they'll change the decision." Ethan turned to her, heartbreaking. "You want me to pretend to be like them? Hurt you? Scare you?" She looked away, ashamed. I don't want to disappear." Vexa stepped forward, calm but cold. We have one last chance. The recall drones arrive at sunrise. If we prove bonding again before then, maybe they'll delay. Ethan shook his head slowly. No, I'm done playing by their rules. Vexa narrowed her eyes. Then what's your plan, human? He walked to the corner of the room and pulled out his tool belt. From it, he opened a hidden compartment and took out the metal box. Inside, the encrypted data drive containing all the dark secrets of the assigned wife program. Their own code is going to burn them. He looked at them, at all three of them. I'm not going to save you by pretending to be a monster. I'm going to save you by showing the galaxy that they're the monsters. That night, they prepared to run. Ethan moved fast, digging up his old gear, thermal cloaks, anti-skin shields, food tablets, backup drives. The alien girls helped without question. They had nothing to lose anymore. Their home was no longer safe. Their future was already written, unless they escaped and rewrote it themselves. At 3 a.m., they left the house quietly and slipped into the forest shadows. Ethan led the way. Crater Delta was 5 kilometers away. The terrain was rough, stone ridges, thorned vines, alien insects that glowed in the dark. But they didn't stop. Vexa watched the skies. The drones will come from the south. We need to move faster. Senna's legs trembled. Lyra was already weak from her earlier punishment. Ethan lifted her onto his back without hesitation. You don't have to carry me, she whispered. Yes, I do, he said. You're not like the others. I hope not. By 4:30 a.m., they reached the edge of Crater Delta. It looked like an ancient battlefield. Black soil, shattered mining towers, rusted metal buildings half swallowed by vines. But in the center stood a tall silver antenna blinking in slow pulses. It was a signal marker. The meeting point. They climbed into one of the broken towers and waited. 5 minutes. 10. Then, movement. A shape emerged from the fog. Not a drone. A man. Human. Tall, bearded, and wearing a ragged galactic mechanic coat with a faded logo on the chest. He stopped 5 feet away, raised both hands. Name's Calyx. You brought the drive. Ethan stepped forward. Yes. He handed the metal box to him. Calyx plugged the drive into a small black cube and watched the data pour across the screen. His expression changed. By the stars, he whispered. You have it all. Memory wipes, disposal orders, neural rewrite templates. This is everything. Lyra stepped beside Ethan. Can you stop them? Calyx looked at her. I can't, but if I upload this to the unified galactic public net, I guarantee the public will. He looked at Ethan. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Once I push this live, you'll be hunted. They'll mark you all as traitors. Ethan didn't hesitate. Do it. Calyx nodded. He tapped the cube. It hummed. Then a blue beam shot into the sky, data bursting upward into the satellite ring above the planet. Upload complete, Calyx said. And then, boom. A deafening explosion shook the crater. A drone ship had arrived, and it wasn't alone. From the sky, 2 more black ships swooped down, shining red scanners across the crater. They found us, Vexa shouted. Calyx tossed Ethan a small beacon. Go east, through the steam tunnel. It'll lead to the underground transit rails. I'll distract them. Ethan grabbed Lyra's hand, shouted for Sina and Vexa, and ran. The steam tunnel was hidden behind old mining pipes. They dove inside just as laser fire cracked behind them. Calyx's voice echoed through the radio. Go. Go. I'll buy you time. Make it count. Then silence. Ethan didn't stop. They ran until their legs gave out. At dawn, they emerged miles away in the wastelands beyond the city borders. The sun rose in a red-gold sky. Wind blew across the dry hills. They were alive. Exhausted, but free, for now. Then Ethan's comm beacon buzzed. He tapped it. A hologram popped up. A Galactic news feed. Headline: Illegal Alien Bride Program Exposed. Galactic Authority faces global uprising. Images appeared. Women crying. Angry crowds. Secret footage from Ethan's drive. It was working. The system was falling apart. And somewhere out there, 1,000 more alien girls were finally seeing the truth. Ethan looked at Lyra, Sina, and Vexa. Bruised, tired, scared, but smiling, truly smiling, for the first time. "You're not just government property," he said. "You're people. You always were." Lyra took his hand, and Vexa finally said what she hadn't said in years. "Thank you, Ethan. They're on the run, but now the whole galaxy is after them." Ethan didn't sleep. None of them did. They had escaped death. They had exposed a secret program that enslaved hundreds, maybe thousands, of alien women. And for a moment, it looked like they had won. But the galaxy does not change overnight, especially when it's afraid. The first bounty dropped 6 hours later. Wanted: Ethan Voss, human male, former military engineer. Status: traitor to Galactic Authority. Reward: 200,000 Galactic credits, alive or dead. Accompanying fugitive assets: 3 unassigned alien subjects. The girls' faces were shown too, blurred slightly, but still recognizable. All across Varela 9, bounty hunters and authority enforcers activated. Now they weren't just rebels. They were targets. The 4 fugitives took shelter inside a collapsed fuel refinery deep in the wastelands. The building smelled of old oil and ash. Pipes groaned in the wind. It was cold, dark, and dangerous, but it was the only place left where scanners couldn't reach. Lyra sat curled up in a rusted corner, her arms hugging her knees. Sina rested her head on Ethan's shoulder, too exhausted to speak. Vexa stood guard at the broken door, holding a plasma rod like a sword. Ethan sat in the center of the room, watching a flickering news feed from a cracked screen. Protests were rising in distant colonies. The video of the assigned wife program had gone viral, but so had the anger of the powerful. One headline stood out: Galactic Authority calls for emergency action, orders all subjects to be retrieved. "We have to leave this planet," Vexa said suddenly. Ethan looked up. "Leave? How?" She turned to him. "There's an old smuggler port on the southern ridge. If we reach it before dawn, we might find a ship." Sina looked scared. "It's dangerous out there. They'll be looking for us." "They already are," Vexa replied. Lyra finally spoke. "I don't want to be hunted anymore. I want to live freely." Ethan nodded. "Then we move. Tonight." They traveled on foot under the cover of stars. The wastelands were cruel. Cold winds cut through their thin cloaks. Creatures howled in the distance. Dust storms rose and swallowed the moonlight. But they didn't stop. They couldn't. Because overhead, the sky was no longer peaceful. Drones scanned the land in wide circles. Hunter ships floated silently, searching with red beams and whispering in robotic voices. Subject tracking activated. Subject tracking activated. As they neared the smuggler ridge, they spotted a dark shape in the distance, low and wide, hidden beneath the rocks. A ship. Sleek, silent, old, but intact. Hope sparked in their hearts. Until they saw something else. 3 shadowy figures blocking the path. Bounty hunters. 2 alien mercenaries with thick armor, glowing blades, and thermal scopes. The third was human, tall, with scars on his face and a smirk that screamed danger. "Well, well," he said, stepping forward. "Look what we found. The famous Ethan and his little pets." Ethan stepped in front of the girls. "They're not pets, and you'll have to get through me." The man laughed. "Good. I was hoping you'd say that." The fight exploded like lightning. Vexa lunged forward, her plasma rod clashing with one of the alien hunters. Sparks flew. Ethan rolled and fired a stun bolt at the second, Missing by inches, the alien returned fire, and the beam singed Ethan's arm. Senna grabbed a metal pipe and struck the human bounty hunter across the head. But he turned, laughing, and knocked her to the ground. Lyra screamed as the second alien grabbed her wrist. Then something changed. Her hand began to glow. Not like a trick, like something real. A deep blue light surged through her skin, and suddenly the alien fell backward, shaking violently. She looked at her hands, stunned. I can still heal, but I can also hurt. Ethan reached for her. Lyra, focus. Use it again. Lyra turned, her glowing hands pushing against the chest of the human bounty hunter. A pulse of energy blasted him backward into a metal wall. He didn't get up. Vexa threw her final strike, piercing the chest plate of the last mercenary. Silence followed. Heavy breathing, scrapes and bruises, but they were alive. The smuggler ship's door hissed open. Inside, it was dusty but functional. Ethan fired up the main engine panel. The hum of power returned. Looks like it still works, he said with a shaky grin. We just need to lift off. But Lyra held up a hand. Wait. She walked to a terminal in a corner. Tapping into it, she found a channel connected to a hidden comlink. I can send one last message, she said. To who? Ethan asked. To everyone. She looked into the camera. For the first time, not as his subject, but as herself. My name is Lyra. I was taken from my world and made into something I was never meant to be. But I remembered who I am. And now, I want to be free. Senna stepped beside her. We were trained to obey, but now we choose to speak. Vexa added, to every other assigned girl out there, we're not tools. We're not property. We're people. Fight back. Lyra looked at Ethan. And to the human who didn't treat us like things. Thank you. Ethan placed his hand gently on the console. Let's get off this rock. The ship launched into the sky, roaring over the mountains, leaving behind a world that wanted to bury the truth. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't have a home, but they had each other, and they had started something unstoppable. He was just a man, but he sparked a revolution. The stars never looked so close. As the stolen smuggler ship soared through the black sky above Varela 9, Ethan sat at the cockpit window, watching them. So many lights, so many worlds, so many lives that had no idea what had just happened on that dusty planet below. Behind him, Lyra was asleep for the first time without fear. Her breathing was calm, her hands no longer glowing with anxiety. Senna sat beside her, quietly humming a tune she swore she made up. But perhaps it was something her erased memory still remembered. And Vexa stood by the door, her sharp eyes scanning every radar blip, guarding them all like the warrior she was born to be, before someone tried to rewrite her. Ethan wasn't a hero. He was just a man who opened his door one morning and saw 3 alien women assigned to him like pets, and instead of using them, he did something dangerous. He treated them like people. And now, the whole galaxy was waking up. A few hours after takeoff, their ship received a ping. A live broadcast. Galactic Public Channel. Vexa patched it through. A well-known news anchor with silvery skin and flashing eyes looked straight into the camera. Today, leaked footage from a fugitive human man, Ethan Voss, revealed the horrifying truth behind the so-called assigned wife program. Across more than 14 outer colonies, protests have erupted. Alien populations are demanding the release of all assigned subjects. Many have gone missing. Some have never been seen again. Sources confirm 2 high-ranking authority officials have been arrested. Investigations are underway. And the mysterious trio who escaped with Ethan, 3 alien women once labeled as property, have become symbols of resistance. The anchor paused. In response to the uprising, the Galactic Authority has declared Ethan Voss and his companions enemies of stability. A bounty remains active, but their message is now viral. Their story, unstoppable. Vexa turned off the feed. Silence. And then Cinna whispered, "People are hearing us." Lyra opened her eyes slowly. "We're not invisible anymore." Ethan leaned back. "Now they can't pretend we don't exist." They flew for days, hopping between abandoned ports and old supply lanes. At one stop, an old mechanic, alien and missing one eye, gave them fresh food and coolant for free. "I saw the video," he said. "My daughter was in that program. She disappeared 2 years ago." "Thank you." At another moon station, a group of alien women stood in silence as Lyra walked by. Then each raised their hands to their hearts. A gesture of unity. A gesture of hope. But peace never lasted long. On the 6th day, 2 Galactic Authority hunter ships found them near the nebula rim. Lasers flashed. Shields cracked. The ship took a direct hit to the rear engine. Smoke filled the hallway. "Ethan, we're losing control," Vexa shouted. Cinna was trying to hold the navigation steady, her hands shaking. "I can't fly this much longer." Lyra rushed to the wounded console and pressed her hands against the panel. Her glow returned, not just healing now, but merging. Her energy spread through the system like veins. The ship's lights stabilized. The alarms went silent. Ethan stared in awe. "You're part of the ship." "I don't know how I'm doing it," she whispered, "but I can feel its pain, and I can hold it together." He grinned. "Then hold on." They dipped through the glowing clouds of the nebula, diving into ion storms and slipping between asteroid shards. Vexa took control of the weapons. With perfect aim, she fired 2 countershots and struck 1 hunter ship down. The second followed, relentless. But it didn't expect Ethan to eject the fuel core. As the enemy ship closed in, the core exploded behind them, sending waves of EMP into space. The hunter ship powered down, drifting into silence. The fugitives escaped again. Barely. Later that night, the crew floated above an unmarked planet with no name. Just trees, rivers, and quiet. They landed, camped near a waterfall, rested. It was the first time they all laughed, really laughed. Cinna sang a tune. Lyra taught Ethan a strange alien game using rocks and glowing pebbles. Vexa, finally relaxed, told a war story that ended with her getting stuck in a tree for 2 days. And then Ethan stood, holding a tiny transmitter. "I want to say something," he said. The others quieted. He looked at the stars. "This galaxy is huge and cruel, and full of systems built by people who don't care who they hurt. But we're still here, not because we're strong, but because we didn't give up. They tried to erase you. They tried to erase your names, but now the whole galaxy knows them." He looked at each of them. "Lyra, Cinna, Vexa. You're not subjects. You're not assigned. You're free." He pressed the transmitter. A soft pulse went out. "One more message to the galaxy. To anyone out there who's still trapped, still owned, still controlled. We're waiting for you. You're not alone. The world they built is breaking. Come find us and help us finish what they started." Weeks later, across colonies and planets, something new began. Assigned women started vanishing, not from deletion, but from escape. Secret networks formed. The name Ethan Voss became a ghost story to the Authority and a legend to the people. And somewhere, in a ship flying through the edge of the galaxy, a human man sat at the controls, smiling. Behind him, 3 aunts, assigned women, now leaders of the largest interspecies rebellion ever seen, watched as stars streaked past. They were still hunted, still fugitives, but they had already done the impossible. They had started a revolution. And no one, no system, no government, no machine could ever stop it now.